This is the Definitely Uncertain podcast, brought to you by Gold Rock Capital. Each week, we look at how high net worth families can improve their lives, decisions, and investments in a deeply uncertain world. We always aim to provide practical information, even if we can't offer specific investment advice. Welcome to the Definitely Uncertain podcast. My name is Darren Rockman, and I am a partner at Gold Rock, the more than 20-year-old multifamily office servicing high net worth families in Israel and around the world. And I am very excited to have someone on the podcast that I've actually wanted to have for a very long time. Fleur Hassan-Nahoum is joined us. Hi, Fleur.
Hi, Darren. Lovely to be with you. How are you doing?
Terrific. Fleur serves as Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem, where she was responsible for foreign relations, international economic development, and tourism. She's also co-founder of the UAE-Israel Business Council, an association of Emirati and Israeli businessmen and government leaders trying to foster bilateral trade, innovation, and cooperation through the Gulf and Israel. In 2023, she was appointed by Israel's foreign minister to be the first special envoy for innovation. And in her tenure as deputy mayor, she was pivotal in fostering Jerusalem's innovation ecosystem and has been a robust proponent for Israeli advancements on the global stage. She grew up in Gibraltar, where her father was mayor and chief minister of the British territory, and she moved to Israel in 2001. And I saw Fleur at the Jerusalem, I was telling you the other day, I saw her at the New Jerusalem Library, or Israel Library, at an event where I had to applaud one of the things she did because it was absolutely fantastic. But we'll leave that out of the podcast, won't we? So, Fleur, let's start with the Israel-UAE relationship. As you know, co-founder of the Business Council, one of the things that the Gaza war has done is obviously put some strain on that relationship and the relationships that were building up over the period between Israel and the various Gulf countries. How do you see that the war has impacted the relationship generally and the mission of the UAE-Israel Business Council specifically?
So thanks very much. Pleasure to be on the podcast. And I have to say that with all this tragedy and all these very difficult moments that we're going through now as a country, the one of the few little things that are giving me hope, the light at the end of the tunnel, is in fact the Abraham Accords relationship. So let me tell you why. It might seem counterintuitive. When the war started, war that we didn't want, we didn't ask for, we didn't expect, caught us completely unprepared, I think it was a shock to the system, not just to Israel, but to those Arab countries that had made peace with us. I don't think they thought that this would actually ever happen. I think one of the reasons why they made peace with us is because they perceive Israel to be a strong country that defends its borders. And we were all worried because over the last 4 years of this relationship, there have always been bumps on the road, and all the bumps of the road have always been a mini war with Gaza, right? And we seem to have gotten over all of them. And so the question at that moment was, were we going to get over this bump in the road? And I've got to say that we have gotten over it. And let me tell you my analysis of why and how. The UAE, same as Bahrain, to a certain extent also Morocco, and a potential Saudi peace treaty in the future, have the same enemies as Israel in the region. So who are those enemies? The main enemy is Iran. Iran wants a Shia domination of the Middle East, and in fact, a caliphate all over the world. They are jihadi fundamentalists. And the UAE, and the Saudis, and the Bahrainis have dealt with their own version of Hamas in their countries.
Yes.
The UAE kicked them out 10 years ago. For Saudi, it's an ongoing struggle, but again, a couple of decades trying to kick them out. And Bahrain, if we remember during the Arab Spring, when the Muslim fundamentalists were trying to basically bring down the monarchy, there were Saudi tanks on the street to protect the monarchy.
Yes.
So they know exactly who Hamas are, and they can't say it too loudly because the Palestinian cause plays very well on the Muslim street, but essentially they know who these monsters are. Secondly, is the fact that they have been de-radicalizing their own populations for a long time. The educational system in the UAE changed, and in Saudi changed, and in Bahrain a little bit. So they have been really making efforts to de-radicalize their countries from this fundamentalist threat that threatens their monarchies as well as us. And if you want to know proof that I'm not just deluding myself with this, is the fact that a month after October 7th, the Arab League, who we haven't heard from for a while, well, they're still there. 22 countries tried to pass 3 boycotts, 1 on American bases in the Gulf, and 2 against Israel, 1 about rolling back the Abraham Accords, and the 3rd, something else against Israel. And they couldn't get it done. There were 11 countries, including, of course, the Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Morocco, blocked
passing
those
the
3 boycotts.
Right.
That is progress. I don't expect marches for Zionism in these capitals. But the fact that they're laying low, they're not condemning us, and the fact that they blocked an Arab boycott on Israel, to me, that's a very good sign. Saudi Arabia is interested mainly in one thing. It's that they want a defense pact with the United States.
Yeah.
And they know that the price they have to pay is peace with Israel, and they're willing to pay that price.
You mentioned strength. And one of the things, obviously, that October the 7th showed was an Israeli weakness, or a perception of Israeli weakness, which really I don't think anybody expected. We didn't expect it here in Israel, and I don't think the broader world expected this to happen. Does that change the calculus of Saudi Arabia, for example, or the Gulf countries? Because they were partnering with a robust, highly successful country in defending itself.
So I think it's a 2-part answer. First of all, absolutely. In the Arab world, and I think this is something that many Western countries completely misunderstand about the Arabs and the Arab world, there they respect strength, and they respect people who respect themselves. And you'll even hear ABZ, who's the foreign minister of the Emirates, saying, you guys have no idea how you are making your lives harder by being so politically correct towards fundamentals. He said his own right. And I think that October 7th did shake that image of Israel of being kind of invincible and on top of everything. However, I think we've recovered that just by the fact that we're willing to admit we were caught unawares and we're heading back. And
the robust response of the Israeli army, and the fact that we're going after them.
And also the reaction of the Jewish world.
Yes.
I always say that, funnily enough, Israel is the only country that people fly in for a war.
Right.
But they do.
Yes, they do.
They do. Who else flies in?
In large numbers. In large numbers.
Solidarity trips, and there's already a fund for the reconstruction of the South. The Jewish people are experts at getting knocked down and getting up again. And I think that has neutralized that kind of shaking in, wow, Israel's not invincible. I think we've managed that. But I think what the October 7th has done, now with an impending, hopefully, Saudi peace deal, is that it's made our price for this peace deal higher. That's the problem.
Yep.
The problem is we're going to have to pay a higher price for that. What does that mean? Concessions to the Palestinians. Now, people are constantly harassing us about this 2-state solution. And what they seem to miss is that we've offered a 2-state solution multiple times, and it's always the Palestinian leadership who've said no. And so I think the question is directed at the wrong party. You don't have to ask Israel about the 2-state solution. Ask the Palestinian leadership about the 2-state solution and see what they say.
What's the higher price? What's the higher price that Israel is going to be requested to pay? And are the Saudis particularly interested in us paying that high price, because the attempt to establish or to move out of Gaza led to a fundamentalist state there. What is their interest here?
Well, their only interest in us paying a high price is image in the Muslim world, which is very important. In the Muslim world, rhetoric and image are very, very important. Image of being strong, image of being the leaders of the Sunnis, of the Sunni moderate countries, the most advanced, even within the Gulf, there's a lot of competition.
Yeah,
one
sure.
with the